You guys, sorry about that. I'm back. I kept disconnecting from the microphone distance, so that had me thinking that y'all couldn't hear me. So I had to go back, do a test record, and everything good. So in this level, I'm going to talk about the fearful avoidance love language. So if y'all are here for North Talk, maybe the next one, but not this one. I kind of want to get off into this one more so because I've only been doing shorts on the fearful and the dismissive avoidance more so. But I want to talk about the love language of an avoidant and how they receive love, how they give love, and what makes them kind of fade away from the whole relationship when they start to feel like things are kind of coming on too strong for them and the definition of when things are getting too heavy for them. So we kind of talked about that already before. We know that they run when they feel responsible for something that they really weren't prepared for because they weren't prepared for it in their upbringing. A lot of the way an avoidant is has to do with their upbringing. It does, it has to do with their childhood, a lot like the narcissist. But with the avoidant, they learn to survive in ways of coping with their disappointments. And so, even though they're not aware that the way they go through life treating people is not the right way, they feel like that's the normal to them because that's the way they were brought up. So, again, I want to talk about their love language. And if you really want to look into the way they treat people, it is like some people may say, well, that's normal. You know, a relationship is 50-50, and it is. But it goes further than just the honeymoon phase or just the very beginning stages of a relationship when you still really get to know each other. So, of course, you're not going to require that much from a person. But when things get real, this is when you really start to put the relationship to a test. And this puts the avoidant at the flight or fight mode. And a lot of times they're going to fight. They're not going to fight for their relationship because they don't feel that that's something they should be doing. They don't feel it's their responsibility to do so. They feel like they're put in an uncomfortable place and they feel like they're being treated unfairly. So again, this is a part of their defense mechanism. So with a DA, the love language, I would probably call it like a final transaction. Their love language is very transactional. Everything is counted for. They keep account of anything they do for anyone, but it's a final transaction. You know, like there's no returns. You can't go back on your word. The way things is the way it remains. That's the way a DA thinks. Now, they are known to play it safe by staying at a distance that doesn't require more of them than they are really comfortable with, and their way of receiving love is by the way the partner values whatever effort they put into the relationship. That's how they receive love. They feel like if the partner shows appreciation, then I know that I've done a good job. Even if the person require more, it's like, that's a bad place to go with a DA. So then the way they give love is very calculated by what they feel that they should be doing to please the partner. they feel that even the smallest efforts should be highly appreciated. Again, they don't feel like that you should really question what they do. They just feel like you should be grateful. And the love language can be measured by motivation, which is an example of that is, let's say you are coming up to some hard times. So you're telling the person, the avoidant, look, I have this and that coming up soon, so I was wondering if you'll be able to give me a hand with whatever it is you may need help with. And you're thinking as them being your partner that that's something, first of all, that you shouldn't even have to feel uncomfortable asking them about. But when you're like not really secure in knowing how they're going to answer, that's a huge red flag in a relationship to begin with because you kind of already see where it's going to go. They show you who they are in the beginning and they move in a way where they don't really change tunes. They stay that way. And so it makes you kind of scared to approach them and ask for anything because you know the answer is going to be no, but they give you nice no's. Like they give you this type of motivation, like, no, I'm pretty sure, you don't have to worry about that happening. They're not they're not gonna give you what you asked for, but they will tell you that you shouldn't have to worry or don't worry. I don't think that's going to happen. Just wait and see. I'm pretty sure things are going to work out. That's how they pretty much tell you no in a nice way. And they feel as though they're being a good partner and playing the part of motivating you to not give up and feel discouraged in a way of whatever the situation may be. And it's not even about that. It's like, well, I kind of feel like I'm on my own with this now. So are you with me or not? Because I could really use your help right now. Like you wouldn't treat them that way, but they're quick to let you know that that's just not something they're willing to do in a relationship. So again, they start to show you who they are. And that's just one example. Another example is the way they kind of keep score of whatever it is they do for you. Let's say you plan a date for the weekend. And so when the Saturday morning comes, they already decided, okay, I think that you should buy breakfast and I'll buy lunch. Like if y'all are deciding to go take a ride out of town or something. So, you have to eat for the day. And they're going to tell you, look, you buy the breakfast and I buy the lunch. That's their way of keeping score on stuff. And again, they do whatever to play it safe. That's their love language. They're letting you know, I cared enough to let you know I am willing to do 50/50. And it's just like, okay, well, since you making the rules, they showed you that part of them. So it shouldn't be no surprise the next time around. Now you're going to start seeing a pattern of them in that way. Another example is their definition of consideration is by buying whatever it is they feel like you need rather than what you ask for. And this has to do with gift giving. When they buy you things, not like a narcissist, they do put thought behind the things they buy you. They pay attention to you when it's something that they know you want and desire. So they may really, you know, get it or they can, it's like they're gonna go big or pretty much don't do much at all to show you that they care. So it can go either way with the DA. Say, for example, they know that you are a huge plant lover. You love houseplants. And so, and another thing, you live separately because we know that a lot of people they're used to, you know, the cohabitat, the whole living together thing. That becomes a thing in most relationships before it goes on to marriage. But with an avoidant, they are perfectly fine with living separate, even though in a long-term relationship, they're fine with it. So again, they know the things that you like, they know the things that you enjoy and desire. They pay attention to the things you want. So these are the things that they're waiting to get for you for anniversaries, birthday, holidays, things like that. They can get it at any random moment, but they really like to follow their own rules and do things in a way that pleases them, and knowing that they still have control of the role they play in a relationship. And so they're not going to step outside of their comfort zone and do something out of the ordinary and surprise you. But you can bet come your birthday, Christmas, Valentine's Day, they are going to pop up with something that they know you wanted. Or it can go another way, where they're not thinking about the fact that back to the houseplants. You love those huge houseplants, but they go out and get you the tiniest little plant in the garden nursery. And you're like, okay, well, you see my house. You see my big greenhouse in my house. And you decide to come back with this little bitty plant. And then on top of that, it's probably not even a house plant, which everybody not gonna get it. Like, you know, it's just like when a woman, they really want something, the man knows that a woman wants something. But if a man, they're not gonna pick it like a woman would. So they're gonna get something similar just to show that I'm paying attention. I know what you like. So again, they go and get the tiniest of the plants and bring back to you because in their mind, it's the thought that counts. Even though it's like, did you really think though? Like, yeah, you really showed me that the thought counted when you got this for me. So, yeah, that's their way of showing their love language and gift giving that they care by just making the smallest effort possible to bring back something just to get the credit of saying, I did it. They do things like that. They're in constant need of validation. They always need to feel safe and knowing that you're going to see them as a good person, a good guy, a good girl, the person that everybody loves. You don't hear nothing bad. Their efforts matters the most. And, it's just like never any accountability. There's never really any self-reflection that says, you can do better. You should work on that. Check yourself. It's never like none of that when it comes to an avoidant. So their love language is just the constant need of validation from you. You have to always let them know that I will always love you because you're here. It's like I love you because you woke up this morning and you're still doing the same thing. Like things never change. It always stays the same with the DA. And what they fail to realize is that that's not reality. It's just not. No matter how much they want it to be, you're gonna run into troubles in a relationship. You're gonna run into hard times in life, period, even within your partnership. And it has to be a way of saying, we're gonna get through this together. We're gonna, work it out without saying you do this and I do that because at that point it really doesn't feel like much of togetherness with them. It makes you feel like you're alone but together in a relationship. And that's the worst way to be, and that's the worst thing to settle for a person. Again, the DA will show you this part of them in the beginning stages. It's you can consider that a red flag that you ignored. Um, Again, they always need to feel certain that things won't change. They need to make sure that you're not going to change. This puts the partner at a place to where, all right, they're knee deep in love with the DA already. And so it's not going to be hard to just say, you know what, I can't do this no more. It's like an insecure person will continue to allow the avoidant to have it their way in a relationship. But a secure person is gonna like, I can't do this no more. I can't. They're gonna start to require more. They're gonna point out things. They're gonna bring up what they have dealt with for so long with the person, and sometimes pressure bust pipes. It might even come out the wrong way. And it's because you allow it to go on for so long, and when you come to realize, hey, I've been getting the shorter end of the stick the whole while I've been with you. It just might blow up. So that happens a lot with a secure partner once they confront the dismissive avoidant and pretty much tell them their needs. But they always need to feel certain that you won't change, or they just might throw their back in your face. Everything's been going good. Where is this coming from? And trust and believe they don't know. They are truly clueless on why you might start to ask for more. And this is pulling them out of that comfort zone that they're so used to. Again, it's a defense mechanism, it's something that they're used to. It comes from the upbringing. They were probably brought up in a household to where their feelings were never considered, or it was always just a bare minimum of what they needed in order to feel taken care of. And I'm gonna give y'all an example of that. There's a person who told me that he had two other siblings, and on Christmas morning, him and his two other siblings were expecting this big name brand toy that was the big thing that year, and say that when they opened their gifts, he got his, the older brother got his, but the baby brother didn't. And the reason why is because the parents had run out of money to have enough to get that big name brand toy for baby boy. So he, reacted as a child would when they're disappointed on Christmas morning because they didn't get the toy they wanted. And they really thought that, that's what they were going to get. So what happened with this avoidant is that the parent took the toy from him, gave it to the baby boy to please him. And that is kind of the example of how the upbringing has kind of mold the avoidant into thinking that their feelings are really not something to be considered. For the most part, it's like, just suck it up. They've been told for so long, suck it up, toughen up. You don't have to worry about that. You're gonna get it. Like their feelings don't matter. So it's just like from then on, once that child starts to receive the littlest efforts from those parents, it continued well into their teenage years. They were always put last. All of their needs weren't highly considered as the other siblings. And so, again, this is why they go to adulthood and they treat people that way. They don't know how to show that type of love and appreciation. They don't know how to give it in the way that they feel that they actually should feel like they deserve. And at the same time, this also creates insecurity in the child. So of course they're going to be insecure as a teenager, and they're going to be insecure as an adult. So again, that kind of defines the whole when people say, well, it started from a child. Well, they can't change. That's all they ever know. So it takes self-reflection. It takes just wanting to know how can I be better? But you have to come to realize that, okay, I don't want to be like this. And, maybe people have pointed this out to the DA, so maybe they can think about like everybody's not saying this for nothing, but it's gonna have to come to a point to where they realize it on their own. gonna take a huge self-awareness moment in order for them to see it from the inside out, I guess to say. And that's the only way that it's really gonna be any changes if a person decides to fix on themselves and be better for self first. Like learn how to develop high security, not to the point where I'm better than you now, and I'm stepping on all y'all, like, but in a way to treat people in a way that they should be treated. And especially in their relationships, they should want to show up for the person that has shown nothing but love and support. And, like someone who they really need on their side. They should not want to take a chance by being so stuck up in these selfish ways and lose that person because, you know, the fear of uncertainty of not stepping out on faith and saying, you know what, I'm going to try something new. It's not going to hurt to try. So it's just pure selfishness now when they decide I'm not even going to give it a try. There's no excuse for not trying. You always get something out of trying, but they will never know if they don't do so. So I just wanted to give that quick example right quick of a way that describes the upbringing in the way that they are. The making of an avoidant, it comes from childhood and might I add neglect. So yeah, again, the more things change, the more things stay the same with the avoidance, just like the old saying. So again, acts of service. And I'm gonna end this live real quick because I want to go ahead and start looking at some of the comments. I'm not even around my little phone. And yeah, so I want to speak on the acts of service. Again, gifts. They look at gifts as like the smallest gestures should be a big thing to you. Another way, let's say that you are deciding to take a road trip. And so you're driving. Um, and you're like, okay, I need to gas up. Any other time, they like to make the rules in the beginning. If you drive, I'll put the gas in the car, I'll fuel up. But this time, it's you notice that it's all on you. Okay, cool. So you're like not making a big deal about it at all because you got to put gas in your car any other time, whether you're with your partner or not, your avoiding partner or not, but they're with you. And so they're like, you know, I'm gonna pump the gas, I'm gonna go in and pay and blah blah blah, because I want to get, a drink for the road, whatever, whatever. And so you're like, okay. And so you reach them, let's say you reach them a $50 bill, you tell them to put half on this pump. They go in and put the whole 50. And you're like waiting for the change because as they come back to the car, you're sitting on the driver's side, they head straight to the pump. Normally they would reach, but they kept going on, so pumping gas. And you're like, well, my change, I put the whole thing on there. You're gonna need no, you don't decide what I need. See, this is what they're good at, deciding what they think you need so that it keeps them in a place of, take the load off me, take the weight off me, take the expectations off me being responsible for paying for anything that I don't feel like I should have to because, this is your car. So it's going to benefit you more than it benefits me. It's just one day, 1 hour that we're riding together. They really like to separate things and break it down. They do that. And I'm telling y'all this from experience, not for what nobody told me. I am not an expert. I'm not psychologist, I'm just telling you from experience. That's how I know. So these things, it tells you a lot about the person. Again, you constantly collecting all the information you need, and the more you add on, it's just again, pressure bust pipes. It's gonna come a time when it's just gonna be too much for you because there's no change, there's no consideration. And it's just like, okay, what's the point? What's the point of us even being together? What are we doing? You're gonna question it. So I just wanted to speak on that under the acts of service with the avoidant. They will feel like if, you know, I get you to see things the way I do, you will see that you're more better off. Another example, all right? You are at a dealership and you sign the final paper, they gave you the keys and everything, you just ready to drive off in a new whip. And your avoiding partner is sitting right there, they're all excited for you, rubbing you on your back, I'm so happy for you, babe, all this kind of stuff. And then the person say, "Oh, one more thing. Would you like to add extended warranty, which is gonna boost the note up to such and such?" And before you can open your mouth, there, yeah, 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 yeah. And it's like, why are you answering this for me? I'm the one who got to pay this note every month, not you. I'm not even expecting you to try to give me a hot dime on this car. So please, let me decide what I want. Well, you have to answer now is now or never. And they pretty much trying to speak for the salesman because again, they think they know it all a lot of the times. Either they're super quiet or they talk too darn much. They talk when they don't need to, and they say more than what they should. So it's like, they do that to take the weight and the expectations off them as being a partner who cares about their partner and to show that I got you, that there will be that security in a relationship. You can trust me to, you know, catch you if you fall. That's what a partnership is made up of. They don't believe in it. And mind you, you didn't talk about that in the beginning because you just assumed because you enjoyed these good times together in the beginning, that the honeymoon stage beginning, that it won't ever come to this. So it's like, dang, am I dreaming? Cause oh God, can it get any weirder? You just like, is this a normal relationship? And you might start to do research, you might start to talk to your friends and stuff and kind of vent about things that's happening. And then you realize, no, this is just me. I'm the only one who's experiencing this with my person. So maybe I need to kind of have a serious talk with him and with myself to decide, if this is something I want to go through with, continue on with, because it's really putting you in a state of feeling alone at some point, like, and it hurts too, because they kind of let you know in a nice way, you cannot depend on me. You hold your own and I got mine. It's always got to be the separate, like the rules of engagement they have already come up with to let you know, don't even look my way. I love you, but that's even with conditions. You love them unconditionally. They love you with certain conditions. And so, yeah, and then as far as other ways of showing love language, it's the physical touch, holding hands, cuddling. They love moments like that. These are the moments that they were denied again in the upbringing as a child. They didn't get that emotional support they needed. They didn't get the comfort and security and, just what is it? Like they didn't get that love and support and nurture from their parents. They didn't get it. They probably were taken care of financially, had a roof over their head, food in their mouth, dressed well, went to school, got their education, and all that kind of good stuff. But when it comes to other things that is required, like to raise a child, like that should be a requirement. I mean, even though it's not, like who's gonna send the baby home from the hospital and ask the parents, are you, like, are you able to be loving and nurturing? Like, who's saying, like, maybe that's something that they should think about. Like, none of that type of stuff comes up unless something happens in the household and there has to be some investigation or something. But it's too late, maybe, for most, for some. But it's never too late for a person to get the therapy that they need or counseling. At least start off with counseling just to see, you know, the areas that you really, really, really need to work on. If you really want your relationship to work out. But I don't see that ever happening when you're with an avoidant partner. They will avoid all those things because they think that everything is fine. They think what they're doing is normal. It should be normal and you shouldn't be complaining. In their mind, it's perfect. Damn, they're perfect to them. Also, they love intimacy, lots of intimacy. Again, I've heard of a lot of avoidance being high nature to the point to where they just can't get enough, and that becomes like a real issue, probably with a partner, because again, they were deprived so much of that emotional support, that the love and the nurturing that they needed coming up. So they feel as though you're my partner, you owe me that. Now they can hold you to the responsibility of giving them what they need as an adult, because they have a voice to speak out for what they want and they couldn't as a child. So, some say they understand it and that's normal in relationships, but some can pretty much express how it has been an issue. So that pretty much explains a lot of the avoidance love language in relationships, and how you just have to see it for what it is and decide in the end if that's something that you want to deal with. You don't have to. I wouldn't advise nobody to just settle for that type of treatment from a person when they're not serving you and giving you what you need as a partner, especially if you feel like that you've done way more for them than they were willing to do for you. It's only fair to point that out good enough. Then that's where you have to make your move and decide, look, I think that I'm just gonna go ahead and call it quits. I mean, it ain't no nice way to put it. So let me see, I wanna look at some of these comments. Hey y'all. Um, where the hell are you? Oh, got three people in the room. Thank y'all for coming. I can hardly see. Say- Oh, you talking about Galaxy? Yeah, 'cause I didn't want to be on the camera while I was reading from some of my notes, and my notes was kind of all over the place. Are you going to the moon? All right. Well, thank y'all for coming who did tune in, and those of you who gonna catch the replay, leave a comment down below. Y'all let me know what you think on this. Have you experienced being in a relationship with an avoidant partner? They are pretty similar to a narcissist, but there's hope. There's hope with the avoidant more than it is with a narcissist. Like, I just wouldn't hold my breath on that with them. But again, I want to thank y'all for tuning in to this very random live. Well, it's not random because it's something I've been wanting to do. I just had to find the time, get the notes down, and get on here. So I will be back probably with a couple of more uploads in a little bit and shorts. So I want to thank y'all for watching. Leave y'all thoughts down below. Hope y'all had a good Sunday, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.